Okay, we're live. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Plenty I want to get talking about tonight. Going to be a shorter show, of course, as always with the Euro matches, but two main stories of the day we're going to cover in some detail. Number one is Erik Ten Hag very close to a new contract at Manchester United. That comes from Fabrizio Romano. And then, of course, we have the interest that has appeared from Manchester United in Manuel Ugarte, the PSG and Argentinian midfielder. So let's get kicking off with Ugarte, shall we? Because I can see some comments down there. He is the subject of tonight's poll as well. So, story kind of emerged today from Sky Sports initially that United were interested in Ugarte. They're having a look at him. Now, typically, look, as we guys know, Sky Sports News have kind of become slow sports news. So, if they do report a story, it does tend to be the case that sometimes they're a little bit behind on their own exclusive, let's say. So, basically, it's come in, I think, from Ben Jacobs. It's also come in from Jack Talbot and a couple of different sources online that United have had a first bid rejected by PSG for Ugarte. Now, depends what the offer is, because, look, while I think we do need that destroying type midfielder, I don't think he's good enough in terms of his on-ball quality to be the sole midfield signing of this summer. And I would, if I was to vote in the poll, I can't vote in my own poll, unfortunately, but I will go for the bottom option there. I wouldn't be against bringing him in. I do think we need a kind of destructive type midfielder, somebody who's going to win a lot of duels, win a lot of tackles, and hopefully be a strong and physical presence for us in the middle of the pitch. But I do also think that we do need some other qualities in our midfielders. So if he's brought in as a 2 alongside another deeper type midfielder, maybe Yusuf Fofana, for instance, that could be an interesting deal for me. But it all depends on the payment. It all depends on how big the asking price is, because I think he's good, but I don't think he's a market leader in terms of his position and his quality there. I would still prefer an Onana myself. I think he would probably be my top priority if I was Manchester United looking at players to bring in this window. So, Ugarte, we could have had him last year when he left Sporting Lisbon. It would be kind of like United to leave it a season and then go in for him from a club that we're going to have to pay a lot more money to get him out of. PSG don't have to sell. They have all the money in the world. They can ask for whatever price they want to for Ugarte. Now, I don't think he was as big an influence on the PSG season last year as what maybe we thought he would be. I don't think he necessarily played every single match for Luis Enrique's team, and I do think there's a lot of qualities in him. I do think he's a good player, and like, he is pretty young as well. I think he's 23 years old, so he would kind of fit the age remit of what we're looking for as well. But overall, maybe not his best season last year, and maybe didn't quite kick on from where we thought he would whenever he left Sporting Lisbon last summer. Now, Ugarte, I do like him. I think that as a destructive type player, he could be a pretty good option for us. But 38 matches for PSG last season kind of speaks for itself. Only 25 in the league. He only played 8 times in the Champions League, only racking up 400 minutes. So really, mostly substitute appearances. So maybe it hasn't quite gone to plan for him at PSG. Look, I'm not claiming to be an expert on PSG or Manuel Ugarte. I'm just saying that he could be a good option for us. I don't know if he's the option for us, but I think he could be decent. I've got Nubis down below. Add another option for the poll. Yes, but loan to buy. Unfortunately, I can only do 4 options. The poll's up now, but yeah, that could be my preference. If we got him on a loan to buy, it goes down okay in the FFP, and that would kind of put everything into into a decent spot. And we could bring him in, have a look at him for a season, make our mind up. Kind of the way we did with Sabitzer, kind of the same way we did with Sofian Amrabat last season. We look at these players for a season, see if they will fit, and maybe we make a bid at a later point when they've already settled, they already know the team. Maybe it does make a lot of sense. All depends on what PSG want to do. And apparently PSG would be interested and willing to let him go out on loan. So maybe that's how this deal could get done. I just can't justify us blowing £60 million of our budget out from this point in time. But who knows what could happen. I do think there's a quality player in there. Would question his on-ball quality. I don't know if he's necessarily the best player to be in a kind of possession-based team, if that's what we want to be. At the minute, we're not really a possession-based team because we don't have the gears and can't go through the mechanics of actually keeping possession, retaining possession, building out through the back. But I do think I think the interest is genuine. I think he is a big improvement on what we have in that position already. I think Casemiro is past his best. I think Amrabat probably doesn't get signed, so he's probably ahead of those two already. And then I think probably he would do a better job for us than Kobe would do playing as a number 6. I do like him. I think if you put him alongside Kobe Manu as a kind of enforcer type to make a lot of the tackles and do a lot of the dirty works for Kobe, that could be an interesting move. I'm sure you guys are feeling interested as well. Hello to Bourne. Good to see you, buddy. Chat Sport down there as well. Good to see you. I have Robert in there saying another bid rejected. Yeah, look, it's that kind of time of the season. We're coming up to the window really starting to kick off in July. That's once our profit and sustainability rules will change. The bad seasons on the books, the COVID seasons where we made losses will be off the record, and then we can start to spend money as our finances have gradually improved over the last couple of years in terms of our revenue and our profits and stuff. So I'm not too concerned about that there. 1st of July, that does seem to be when we're going to start making deals. Hopefully we can get some kind of update on Brantwood within the next 6 weeks, because I think we'll want to try time that with beating Everton to their punchline as well and trying to get their bottom line up as well. So it has to be a priority, but let's just find out what happens there. Nuba says, I would only take Ugarte if it's on a loan to buy. He needs to prove he can carry the ball and play possession-based football or not. If not, send him back to PSG. Fabian Ruiz played a bigger role than Ugarte last season. Could have gone for Ruiz on a free last season. We could have. There's a lot of players we could have, maybe should have went for on a free. I keep looking back thinking Marcus Thuram might have been a really good signing to bring in on a free. The lack of goals we got last season, maybe he would have helped out. Not that he's a top goal scorer, but he does add goals and does bring some more creativity to the table. And there's a lot of other players we could have brought in on a free. And I think would be a bit remiss to go past the free agent market this season again, because we could have got Adarabioyo if we really pushed for it. Ultimately, Chelsea ended up paying him an extortionate wage to be their, like 4th or 5th choice centre back. Like, it's one of those ones. Bourne said, when will Barada start to work? Maybe he can speed things up. I think he starts on the 1st of July or sometime in July, Bourne. I don't think we're staying still, and I think that's good, because we are making moves, and a lot of it does seem to be going under the radar, which I'm glad about, because, as much as maybe I would like some more content to talk about in the channel, it's good that we don't have everything put out in public. It's good that this isn't common knowledge everywhere, that United are going after this player, United going after that player, this is the exact amount of money we can spend, this is who we're trying to sell, this is who we're trying to buy. A lot of these deals have been very under the table. The Ruud van Nistelrooy offer and talks have really come out of nowhere. Nobody had that story until Romano said that it was almost a done deal. So that's the kind of levels we're talking about here. Barada, again, came out of pretty much nowhere. Wilcox was a very quick appointment. Dan Ashworth, yeah, that's getting dragged out, but I can only put it towards that there, and I hope that we're making a lot of progress in the background by the people I trust in the industry and the people who we like to listen to on the channel. A lot of them do seem pretty confident that we're working hard behind the scenes, and maybe we'll start to see things happening in the next week or so. I think once the European Championships start to wind down, once we get past the group stage, you might see some more transfers. Once you start to see teams going out of it and Copa America, that will speed things along as well. That probably speeds up Xerxes' potential move. Now we know there's interest in Xerxes, but the thing is, he's still away with the Netherlands. They're 3rd place in their group, I believe, but they will get out of that group because they beat Poland. So yeah, might have to wait a little bit longer in that there one. Ronnie's down there. Why are we not going for left back? I think we are, buddy, but it just depends what left backs we bring in. It doesn't seem like we're going for a first choice left back. It looks like we're bringing in someone who can be a good squad option, who can fill in. And I would assume, reading into the situation, that Luke Shaw will still be number 1 at left back next season. So I don't know. I've seen Bradley Loca talked about. I've seen talk about Kirkes from Bournemouth. I've also seen talk about Miguel, I think, from Girona. So there's different players being talked about. It's just gotta depend, I guess. And it's not the answer we want to have. Ideally we would like to know who we're signing, but it's a change in times at United. Maybe we're not going to be on the front page of every newspaper because everything that goes on in the club just gets leaked out to the press every single time. But I don't know. Look, I might be wrong. In saying that. But we're hopefully we are working on a lot of things. It does seem to be the case. Now, I guess we'll get talking on the second big topic. So, kind of already discussed Ugarte. If you guys want to talk more about Manuel Ugarte, pop it into the chat there, and I will get to it in just a moment's time. But Fabrizio Romano has a little bit of an exclusive. It's not really groundbreaking news. United have been in talks with Erik Ten Hag over the new contract. Once we decided that we were going to keep Erik Ten Hag as our head coach next season, the contract talks began. And the reason they began is because Ineos will want to have Erik Ten Hag on a longer term contract, but they will also want it to be under their terms. And I think that's key. One of the main terms that really is starting to come out, and I think we've known about this one for a while, this has been heavily discussed for the last couple of months, is the limitations on transfer power for Erik Ten Hag. He'll have less of an active role in recruitment. And whilst that might sound counterproductive, the club signing players who we think is going to fit the manager system, I think based on Erik Ten Hag's track record at United, very, very few successes in the last couple of seasons. If we're being honest with ourselves, we look at that first window. We brought in Lisandro Martinez. I would say absolute success when he has played, but he hasn't played enough. You look at Tyrell Malacia, missed an entire season. Christian Eriksen looks like he's past it. Casemiro is well past it. Anthony is just not good enough. And that's season one. That was season one. Season two, arguably is bad. Mason Mount barely played last season, barely kicked the ball. Rasmus Højlund, we signed him, and it doesn't look like we know what to do with the guy. We don't pass him the ball, we don't get him chances. We brought in as well last season. Who else did we bring in? I don't know. I can't think about who else we brought in last season. Onana. Yeah, Onana hit and miss. I mean, pretty good for the most part, but he did pretty much single-handedly put us out of the Champions League. And, that's three of our big signings from last year. Amrabat didn't really kick on the way we wanted to either. So I would say, look, taking a look at the transfers and potentially taking some of that role off Erik Ten Hag, letting him focus on the coaching, maybe isn't a bad idea, to be honest. Nuba said, I hope United sell Shaw. Cannot stand him anymore. He is always injured, and yet he risked furthering his injuries by being available for England. Seems like he put England over United. That could be the case, and there's been times where Harry Maguire was accused of that. There was times when other players, I think Marcus Rashford had that labelled against him one time. I don't know. Look, England have a real lack of left-footed players in the first place, a real lack of left-backs in the entire country. The top two are perpetually injured in Ben Chilwell and Luke Shaw. That's pretty much the level that England's fullbacks are at. Outside of that, maybe you look at Lewis Hall, like that's literally the levels we're talking about. So, look, I don't blame Southgate for bringing Shaw, but it is frustrating, and it's one of those for United, we're in a position where we don't need to just pick English players. We could go out there and pick up some other left backs. And, there's some pretty good left backs out there on the most part. GK is asking about Greenwood. Yeah, I will get to Greenwood as well. Maybe we'll just quickly hop onto that just because I'm reminded about it. So Greenwood, the upshot of the Greenwood situation is potential bid came in, I think, from that too, about 20 million. United turned it down because we want to have a lot more than that. I think there's talks with Napoli, there's talks with Lazio, talks with Juventus, Valencia potentially in there as well as another option. And basically the upshot of the situation was that United have 3 or 4 clubs looking to potentially do a deal for Greenwood. I think United's thinking, look, this is a pretty sellable asset. Yes, there's a controversy, but there's definitely a player in there, and those controversies mightn't be as bad abroad because they weren't committed in Italy or they weren't committed in Spain, and maybe it's not going to be as much of an issue. So United's probably going to try play the field a little bit, but I think Greenwood going early will be an important sale for us. That's probably around 30 million straight profit, which can go right to our transfer budget. So, if you think about it, if our initial outlay for transfers is about 60, 70 million pounds, Greenwood maybe takes that up to 100 million, and look, that's not just total, that's not how much we have to spend on players in general, that's on upfront payments, because that's really how deals are done now. Everything's spread out over several years, so £100 million might get you 5 or 6 players. If you're putting £20 million down now on the table, that could be that there. So Greenwood's an important sale. He goes straight profit because he's an academy graduate. It's the same reason you're seeing Aston Villa selling academy players, same reason you're seeing Chelsea and Everton. There's a kind of circle going around where they're signing each other's academy players and trying to balance the books out there. Very unethical, but it is what it is. There's nothing we can do. The loopholes exist. Burton said, I remember years ago Shaw said he likes being England more than United. Definitely needs to go. Look, I like Luke Shaw. I feel like this is a bit of a controversial opinion, but I do like him as a player. I think I think there's a real top left back in there, but it's when he plays. It's not how he plays. It's not the level he plays to, but he's just never available. And for me, one of the biggest attributes you can have as a professional footballer is to be available. It is to be injury free. It is to be able to go out there on the pitch and gel with your teammates and progress your team like that as well. A lot of stick gets thrown towards a Harry Maguire, for instance, over the last couple of years. Maybe Scott McTominay as well. And yeah, maybe they're not the best players. I'm not going to dispute that. Like, Scott McTominay is not world class. Harry Maguire is not world class. But they're always available for us, and I feel like that's such an underrated ability, and especially when we struggle so much with injuries already. I have comments coming in from So Fresh. Let's make sure the midfield and the defence are strong centrally, and then spend big on a striker and winger. Yeah, look, I think that's the key. I think strengthening the middle areas of the pitch, centre back's a big one this year. I'm expecting 2 centre backs to be brought in this window. I would expect 1 or 2 midfielders. That's probably going to take us to 4. And then maybe you look at a versatile forward and a left back. So you could be looking at 5 or 6 players. Ideally, that's what we get. I just don't think everyone's going to be big blockbuster signings. You might see us try to go shrewd or go to try get some value out of the market because maybe it is there, but I don't know. Ronnie says, look at Austria tonight. Their manager and the club didn't say he was good enough for Manchester United job. The Euro shows you how good it is. Michael asks, is he an Archie or Uruguayan? Ugarte is Argentinian, so I think he will be on the international duty for Copa America. But look, I don't know if he's the answer. I think on a loan to buy, it's a smart deal, or just a loan in general to see how he is, and we can go back in for him next season, maybe when we've got more of a budget and less holes to fill. But I feel like this summer, we need to start filling as many holes as possible. We're a sinking ship at the minute. Yeah, we got to stop the water coming in, so we got to patch up those holes really quickly before we start looking at other things as well. As for what Ronnie said, yeah, look, I'm not surprised with Ralf Rangnick. Had a pretty good coaching record in Germany, took a long time out of the coaching and stuff. And the thing is with Austria is it's a very, very hard-working team. It's a very honest team. I feel like Ralf Rangnick didn't work well with the egos already in that United dressing room. There was a lot of big egos in that team. Pogba was in there. Ronaldo was in there. Just to name 2. But there was issues with Rashford. There was issues, I think, with Bruno Fernandes at times, Sancho at times. So yeah, I do feel like Rangnick was given kind of an impossible job at United. Ultimately, look, he underperformed at United, and I'm not going to be swayed by the recent perform of Austria. He's done a very, very good job there, but maybe that is his level. It's a completely different game, a completely different ballpark as well, going from international to club management. But I'm glad he's doing well. Rajat down there, go for Inaki. Inaki's a great player, man. I wouldn't mind us going to Bilbao, but the only thing is with Bilbao, it's difficult to sign their players because they're on enormous wages. They basically hoover up all the players in the Basque region to come and play for their team. And the success of that team is phenomenal, but the wages that those guys are on is genuinely insane. I think I seen Nico Williams at 20 or 21 is on 200k a week, and obviously you would want a pay rise to leave Bilbao as well. So it's one of those air ones. Nuba says, looks like Ineos are really going to wait for the Brantwaite deal until the 30th before moving on to another target. Do you think we're wasting our time? I don't know, man. I don't know. Look, Everton trying to float the books by selling off young players for inflated prices to Chelsea and Aston Villa, and it's kind of a triangle of them doing that. That they're kind of would maybe throw a spanner in the works. Maybe that's to try put pressure on United. Everton aren't really getting the kind of fees that Chelsea are. They got a big deal for Ian Matheson. Then you're looking at Duran going the other way from Villa to Chelsea, all separate deals. Those go down as pure profit in the books. The other team spreads the payment out over 4 or 5 years, and that there helps them out as well. Rajai said, if United get him and Amrabat, that's a good midfield. I still feel like we need a little bit more. I feel like we need a more physical player who can carry the ball well and be good on the ball as well. Abeda is saying, I want United to get Xerxes and Rabiot, Calafiori, Frimpong and Ignacio. Some good players now. I would definitely take Calafiori. I would definitely take Xerxes. I would probably take Rabiot on a free if the wages are right. I feel like that's been the big sticking point every time. You know, we've went in for Rabiot for 2 consecutive seasons. Do we want to go in for a third season only for him to ask for 250, 300,000 pound a week like he has done in the last 2 years? Hopefully not. Hopefully that doesn't happen if we go in for him this time. But he could very well just stay at Juventus, to be honest. Hey guys, drop a like on today's video as well if you could. We're on 12 likes, but we got 30 people in here, so let's see if we can get those likes up. Maybe see if we can hit 20 likes on today's stream. But yeah, look, Ten Hag, new contract. I'm not surprised about it. I think it's probably the right move. Being at it is probably the right move for him. It's good to get these things done contractually, and that's just going to help Ineos in their remit, I guess. It's interesting though. Ten Hag on a lesser role. Ruud van Nistelrooy coming in as well. What's that going to mean for Manchester United going forward? What is that going to mean? I'm not too sure. You know, you could see a potential contingency plan there, but we did have a little bit of a story there from you guys. I want to call this one out. It is regarding Ugarte. It's another update. This one's coming in from the Telegraph. Just got shared to me there now as well. Coming in from Jason Burt. Pretty good reporter, but has a real disliking for Kobe Manu for some reason. He says United have been in contact with PSG about signing midfielder Manuel Ugarte. PSG sources claim that a formal bid by United has been rejected as it fell significantly below their valuation, and other clubs, including some from the Premier League, are also interested. And I've just had to pay. Well, I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to pay for Telegraph. I think I got the upshot there. I'm not going to pay for that there, to be honest. Yeah, Telegraph's just not getting my money today. Anyways, Nibison, rumour today is saying that Everton interested in Wan-Bissaka and Lindelof. Any truth in that? I haven't seen too much about that. I've seen talk about Wan-Bissaka and Galatasaray. I could see that happening. You know, if you go and actually look at the numbers, one of the biggest spending leagues in Europe across the last couple of seasons has been the Turkish Pro League. They've been spending a lot of money on players, and maybe those are destinations we can ship players out to. There is talks between Casemiro and Saudi Arabia. That's worth keeping an eye out on. I believe that Casemiro turned down one offer looking more money. You might see Al Nassr push for the deal. You know, they were pretty close to winning a couple of things this season. Ronaldo there as well might push for a former teammate who he won a lot of trophies with in the past, and that could be the answer for them. Robert said, why are we clubs rejecting United offer? It's just because it's low, buddy. You know, we always go in with a low bid to test the waters and kind of get a feel for what they're looking for. It's pretty typical. You know, this happens with all clubs. The thing is, not every detail of every deal gets reported on like they do in our clubs. You know, if United turn up and to the PSG negotiations and somebody was wearing a grey suit, then it could get talked about. Who's this guy in a grey suit? And they'd be talking all about it. They would know every detail. They would know what time it was. They would know what kind of coffee was served. Did he have milk in his coffee? You know, this is the kind of stuff that comes out of United. It's just unbelievable sometimes. Anyway, Rashad said, why do we scout other leagues other than Premier League only? Why do we scout it, or why don't we? I feel like we will sign players from across Europe. It's about finding good players and value in the markets. I think that's key. Like, you know, we got a lot of holes to plug. We've got a lot of issues on our team. We know this. You know, we were going into the season with 3 centre backs basically, and one of them's Lisandro Martinez, who we can't rely on. You know, if the season started tomorrow, we would have Maguire and Lindelof at centre back. We would have Wan-Bissaka at right back and Dalot having to play left back again. You know, these are the issues that we have. So we got to address that there. You know, we got to get as many players in. I think 2 centre backs, 2 midfielders, a striker, and possibly a left back. I think that's key. I think Elise going to Bayern Munich might have killed that interest. I feel like we might not go in for another midfielder now, another wide player that is. That would coincide with the talk of Amad Diallo being given more of an opportunity next season, not being viewed as a young player, but rather than a first-teamer. So I think that's key. Being talked about in the same mould as Kobe Manu, being talked about in the same mould as Garnacho, I feel like that's important. So that might be the step up for Amad to get more minutes next season. Hopefully it is. I don't think he's got a lot of competition on the right-hand side. I don't think Pellistri is good enough. I don't think Sancho is gonna play for us again. And I've never thought Anthony was really going to kick on at United. Not had the signs for it anyway. Nibba said, any player in the Euros that really caught my eye United should sign? Yeah, Calafiori's really impressing me. I watched him a good few times for Bologna last season. Very impressive for Italy last night as well. You know, there's a lot of good players at the tournament having good performances out there. I think Kirkes has been good at left back. I think the German left back's been pretty good as well. But, you know, my problem is with international tournaments, it's very easy to shine on them compared to club football. How many times have we gone by a player off the back of a good international tournament and they just absolutely flop? I think Memphis Depay's a big one. Varane's a big one in the past. Kleberson, World Cup winner with Brazil. You know, Barthez. So many of these players haven't really made a United based upon that there. Reza said, no, Kante won't come to United when he's getting paid $1 million every day. Who said Kante? Who said Kante? Oh, so Fresh, would I take Kante? Oh, probably not, nah. Probably not. I don't think that's the deal that's going to happen, most likely. But who knows? Look, I live to be surprised. Ineos might have a lot of tricks up their sleeves, or they might have some unexpected signings. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? And, you know, it's the Wild West United in the transfer market, and we really don't know what we're in for this year. That makes it exciting, but also makes it kind of nerve-wracking as well. Look, I've got the full quotes from Jason Bird, I think it is. United have been in contact with PSG about signing Manuel Ugarte. PSG claim a formal bid was rejected as it fell significantly below their valuation, and other clubs, including from the Premier League, are also interested in the player. The Athletic say Manchester United remain in advanced talks with Joshua Zirkzee's representatives, but no deal is expected to be done until after the European Championship. So that's to be surprised as well. No surprise there at all. Really, you know, players are not going to leave the Euros to come do a medical for United. As nice as it could be, as easy as it could be for us to sign players that way, unfortunately, that can't be done. Guys, drop a like on today's video. I think we're up to 17 likes at the minute. Big ups for that there one, guys. And hit the sub button if you haven't already. We're live plenty. I guess I'll have a little look at the Euros tonight as well. Obviously, some pretty interesting matches there. Austria looking really good. And you know they beat Netherlands in a very good match there. France haven't really clicked on. To be fair, I haven't been overly impressed with France so far in the tournament. We've got 2 matches tonight. We've got England versus Slovenia, and we got Denmark versus Serbia. I would say England are going to make some changes. Who knows? Maybe we'll see Kobbie Mainoo play tonight, but I think it's going to be Conor Gallagher by the looks of things. Let me actually just double check those teams actually, because they will be out by now, I think. Yeah. No Kobbie Mainoo in the team. Anyways, only one change from Gareth Southgate. Bourne is on there. Would take Kante over Rabiot. Depends on the role. You know, it depends on the role. I think Rabiot gives us a level of physicality and some very, very good technical play that maybe we don't have. I think Kante brings his own strength, but I don't know. I can't get behind Kante. I think what we need is more players who are going to win a lot of duels, but not just a lot of duels on the ground. You know, I think we need aerially dominant players in our team, because our midfield's pretty small. Mainoo, I think he's maybe 5'11", 6 foot. Bruno probably 5'10", maybe not overly strong in the air. So you know, I think yeah, bringing in somebody who can win a lot of headers, win a lot of tackles, be strong, carry the ball up and down the pitch, be quality in terms of their in possession work. You know, that's kind of what we need. And yeah, it's a very specific ask. You know, it is. It's a very specific ask, and it's maybe slimming down the market. You know, we need to get an exact match for what we really want in there. In the long run, I wouldn't be surprised if Ugarte comes in on loan alongside someone like that, but it all depends. Gregory's on there. In my opinion, United are wasting their time with interesting players, but at the end they will bring in useful players. Who knows? Who knows, Gregory? That's kind of what we've done before, man. You know, we've brought in a lot of players who we've been excited about, and we've been looking forward to seeing them play, thinking, yeah, look, this guy's going to be their goal scorer. He's going to get us all the goals, or this guy's going to give us a lot of exciting moments on the right wing, or these centre-backs are not going to let us down. We're not going to concede a lot of goals, and you know, it never turns out that way. Ultimately, I think it's probably because United haven't been the platform to succeed. I think that's, you know, the common denominator here, because we've sent a lot of players. I think we've sent something like 50 players since Sir Alex left. We've had 6 or 7 managers in that time period as well. So it's no surprise that everybody's failed. And I think, you know, we need to look at the common consensus. And I think that's what Ineos' first priority is going to be as well. You know, focus on that there. Focus on our on making it an environment where we can succeed, where players can come in, be confident, coaches can come in, get the support they need, make the changes they need, and bring the team on, develop us. You know, I think that's what we need. Lemon said if Rabiot comes in, there will be clashes with Bruno. Could be. So Fred, don't think United will be signing anyone until Copa America and Euros are over. Yeah, look, I think it's going to be slow business until then. I think it's just going to be a slow news day probably until that point. But I think work's being done now. I would expect once teams drop out, you might see some movement. I would expect once it clears the 1st of July, you might see some more movement as well. That's when our FFP rules all change as well. So the new seasons, obviously, we get the COVID years out of the books, and that gives us more money that we can go out and spend, better revenue. Bourne said McTominay is basically useless without goals and probably doesn't fit a proper style of play. I think he's a good option to have. I think he gives us hard work. I think he can bring us goals, and I think, yeah, look, he's not a starter for me. I think as a bench player, as a different option, yeah, I think that's okay. I think that's fine. But if we do sell him, I hope we get a good fee for him because he can score goals. And if he goes to a team like a West Ham, or if he goes to like an Everton or like Newcastle or someone like that, he's probably one of their best midfielders. So I don't know. I feel like there's just ways to handle it. Get a good fee for him. The fees maybe we were looking at last year weren't spectacular. I think maybe 25 million for him and 25 million for Maguire really wasn't. Those players would be worth more to other clubs, and they would probably go to other clubs and become their best midfielder or their best centre back based on who was offering for them. So all depends. We got to get good deals for us as well. I think that's key. Obviously, look, we want the big clear out, and I think we will get it. I think we'll get plenty of sales in this window, and I think that'll be a really good thing for us in the long run, having a lot of deadwood cleared out and having less wages on the bench, and hopefully we can get that done, like and really reorganize the wage structure, because what we want to do, I think, is you want to get player wages down, you want to get the amount of salaries we're paying down. And whilst that might be going against the grain of what teams like City are doing or what Arsenal's doing, I think what this is going to allow you to do is to build up a team, and then if you need a superstar signing, you can go out there and offer them a lot of money because your wage structure can support it. We can't go out there at the minute and get someone like an Mbappe who left PSG because we couldn't afford the wages in the first place. So it's important that we do that there. Rajat said, "Will Mary go to League One?" We're talking about Maguire. Dark Rose said, "What jersey am I wearing?" This is actually when I got the mystery football kit, man. This is a Thai kit. I think it says Tero. Ever Tero are in Thailand. That is his kit I'm wearing right now. Yeah, it's just a mystery one. I don't mind it though. It's a pretty nice top. Nuba said, "I don't care too much about new signings. My biggest concern is the ability to sell current players. So far, we've not sold anyone, and it's been more than a week since the market opened." Yeah, that's the thing. It's hard to move these players on such big wages. It's hard to move them on when they're not performing on the pitch, and there's probably very little players out there who teams will go, "Let's go force the issue and really get this guy out of United. He's perfect for us." So we got to hope that people come in for our players. We've got to hope we can get them sold, and hopefully we can get some money in. I think maybe there'll be more of a willingness from new ownership and new directors to take a hit on some people before, because look, make no mistake about it, people made expensive mistakes at United and have probably staked their reputation on some of these players and will be fighting to keep them and hope that they would turn good. That will be a case within the club. So it's important that we draw a line under the past, and we look at it and say, look, if we have to take a big hit in Wan-Bissaka and sell him for 10 million, we have to take a big hit on Anthony and sell him for 20 million or whatever, look, we just do that there. I think that's going to be key in this window, getting as much money in as we can. Obviously, we want to get them sold. Selling for fairly cheap is better than not selling at all, in my opinion. So let's just get it done, and let's just hope that these deals can get done pretty quickly. Anyway, look, guys, I'm going to drop off the stream here. We're pretty much through tonight's subjects anyway, so go out there, enjoy the England match if you're watching it, enjoy the Denmark match if you guys are watching it as well. Should be live again tomorrow night, same time, 7 o'clock, so thanks so much for tuning in. Just a quick one tonight, but just wanted to get over those couple of topics. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for everyone who's hit the sub button during today's stream, and I'll catch everybody tomorrow.